Blackout, Omega 519er.
And the computer responds, blackout, convincing. And Bateman says, wait a minute. Wait, Doctor, what are you doing? We're all on the same side here. What are you talking about?
We are on the same side, but unfortunately I will be doing things that will not be friendly.
And Bateman says, listen, we've got an evacuation. I can't deal with this right now. I need to get these people off of here before we're being told to leave the sector. And she turns to Ronnie. Ronnie, you've been an invaluable asset. We've been building bridges here between the Akamarian people and the Federation. Ignore this man, she points to Waltz. He does not reflect the values of the Federation.
Oh, no, she is correct. I do not represent the values of the Federation. I am an entity that is needed, though, to get things done. Things that good, conscious individuals cannot bring themselves to do. And I am going to stay here, in the station, even if it's under fire, to complete my mission. And that means to save the Klingon people.
And Ronnie kind of looks at you and she says, that's what I would expect from the Federation, to do whatever you can to help people. It's okay, Doctor. That's not too surprising. Is there anything that I can do to help?
If the Akamarians happen to have any Klingon prisoners, that'd be amazing.
And she says, no, we don't have any prisoners.
Are there any Klingon representatives or individuals within the system?
Bateman says, well, funny that you mention it. One of the two Klingons that is still alive happens to be the Klingon ambassador.
But they're in no condition to talk.
Absolutely not.
Then let's stop wasting time and let's get going to work. Bateman, you can be excused from this, as you have other matters to attend to.
And she kind of rolls her eyes at you and she says, Doctor, despite whatever authorization you might have through intelligence, I'm still in command of this hospital. I am going to work with the evacuation while you work on this task that Starfleet has given you. I don't care if you have authorization. I'm still the one responsible for everyone here. And she looks to you, Linares. She says, Linares, I trust you. If he does or starts to do anything unethical, stop him and get in contact with me. I don't care what I have to do. These Klingons are still our patients. We are still bound as doctors to help them.
He doesn't give any sort of vocal response, but you do see him kind of with his hand off to his side, just give a little thumbs up sort of motion in a way that would be out of view of Johan.
And she looks at you, Arnold, and you, Dax, and she says, and you two, I'm not going to have any problem with you, am I?
Why would you think such a thing? Is it because of my stature? Because I swear, I was built this way.
Arnold's harmless. He's just a character.
I'm going to be the bigger person and look past that.
I mean that it's a good thing, Arnold. You're nice to have around.
I just looked up her rank, but she says, Bateman says, she looks to you, Arnold, and you, Dax, and she says, okay, well, I'm giving you a direct order, since you don't know me. I'm the head of this hospital, and as the ranking officer, I'm giving you a direct order. If this man does anything unethical, if you even have a question, you are to stop him.
Doctor, I also went to Starfleet Medical. I know my way around the medical lab.
And she
Don't let the color on the uniform confuse you.
And she gives you a nod, and she steps in close to you, Johan, and she says, whatever you're here to do, Doctor, you're going to do it the right way.
No. The right way will be too long and too slow. If you want this war to continue and drag it out, then certainly fine. We'll do it the right way. If you want it to end quickly, with as little life loss as possible, we're going to do it my way.
There is a saying amongst the Vulcans, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
I will give you my word. I will make sure that they do not suffer for long. I will keep it to a minimum as best as possible, but I need to do my work.
And she says, all right, I'll make a deal with you, Doctor. Anything, any procedure that you're going to perform on these Klingons, you run it by me first.
Understood.
And she says, Ronnie, I think at this point I've got a lot to do. I'm going to need you to, let's see, what can I do with you? And then Ronnie says, I would love to go with them if that's all right. I don't know a lot about what they're doing, but if they're going to help the Klingons, I'd love to. It would be great to see more doctors in action. I've learned so much in my time here. And Bateman's like, okay, just stay out of the way. I've got a lot to do. And then she turns and heads off. And Ronnie says,
Such
well,
an interesting...
I could lead you to the medical bay where the Klingons are, if you'd like.
Yes.
She starts to walk away, and she says, you are... She stops at you, Lenora. She says, you're a Silverblood. I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
They're... I thought I was muted for a second. Nope, I'm good. Cool. Silverbloods are interesting. Normally, he sort of look like this, and he'll sort of make his hand that mercurial form Silverbloods are usually for a second, and then brings it back. We have the ability to become other biological beings, or we can replicate technology if we desire.
And she jumps back. That is amazing.
Sometimes it feels a bit more like a curse than a blessing, but it's... I guess it's served me well.
And I just spent one threat to take down 1 point off of Starbase 23.
Oh, good. We should probably get going.
So Arnold and Dax, where are you guys going to go? You could go into the medical treatment room with the others if you'd like, or anything else any other place you'd like to be.
I'm basically gonna hover around Waltz, and if he needs anything engineering-wise done, like say an EPS conduit rerouted in a not so ethical way, Arnold will do it.
A heart is just a mechanical pump.
I mean, you're not wrong.
He's not. It's a
Oh,
weird
God.
way of looking at it, but it's not wrong.
Hold on, I have a meme for this somewhere.
I'm tempted to give myself threat for that.
Shut
I'm
up,
really-
Shizno.
I'm really
Let's
tempted
help
to
me
take threat for that.
Hey, I made this guy to be the interrogator if the ship ever needed it, so you know what? He's not so nice.
All right, so let me describe as you walk into the it's really an isolation ward for the two Klingons. You walk in, and it's designed specifically for intense treatment. This is where the highest level of sensor equipment are, all the medical equipment that you would ever need for really any procedure you're going to perform here. Also, the beds that the two Klingons are on also are designed to do force fields for isolation, and also for suspend animation. So as you walk in, you notice that the TM Linares and Waltz, you notice immediately that the two Klingons are stuck in suspend animation.
Eerie, don't you think?
Not really. It's not the first time I've seen Klingons like this. I do hope we could find more, though. I'd much rather have more conscious subjects than unconscious.
And you recall
A lot of
that Bateman said that she didn't do much of an analysis on them because she really just had to freeze them because they were in such a bad condition. So as far as like a physical and their current condition, their readouts are kind of locked because it can't scan them very thoroughly with them frozen in this way.
Well, this facility seems to be pretty advanced, so I'm going to see if it had biometric readings of their conditions when they came in before they got frozen.
Before she froze them, the conditions are... She wasn't looking for anything about the augment virus, which you guys know is what Dax said is what's going on here. All she noticed was an intense degradation in their neural systems. There was just a breakdown across the board. They were in intense pain also, which is why she froze them this way.
Okay. So, yeah, I want to try and... Between the two, who is the most stable?
And neither of them. They're kind of both equally. As you walk in,
Equally
Ronnie,
screwed.
though, she walks over to this guy, the guy that has a name, and she says, "This is the ambassador that Dr. Bateman mentioned. His name is Norg of House Jimpok, I believe. He's fairly important."
Yes, I know the Gempok house.
As do I.
Hmm.
If we are able to stabilize him, he could be the voice of reason.
Have you dealt much with Klingons?
Think about what is inside my stomach and ask that question again.
He'll just grin. Like, well, very well, let's try and save this gentleman here first. Guinea pig, as it were. Whatever we learn from him, either a failing or success, we can apply to Nord.
Well, I can certainly work to make sure he stays stable while you work on him.
And if their neural pathways were decaying, we could use a cortical stimulator, hopefully reinforce, give them some bonding enzymes to reinforce the pathways. Like, let's see what this place has. Linares, work on thawing him out, please.
Okay.
Linares, give me a medicine insight difficulty 1, please. And you do have a focus.
Huzzah. Insight, medicine. Focus.
Ooh.
Let's go. Okay, 4 successes. So that's 3 momentum.
What you can tell, particularly with your focus and anesthetics, are that when you start bringing this guy up, he's going to be in intense pain.
Okay, I guess I shall spend momentum to ask a question.
Sure.
Once we thaw him out, since they said they were in critical condition, about how long would we have until he goes brain dead, basically?
Here's the situation.
Okay.
You first need to figure out what exactly is going on with him. That's something you're going to have to do. But you know, because this is dealing with DNA, you're actually going to have a more difficult time ascertaining if you're making any changes to his DNA, if it's going to be as effective if he is very sedated. If he's not sedated, you'll be able to see the changes right away. The problem is, if he's not sedated, he's going to be in extraordinary pain, and he's probably going to die faster.
Can we give him the equivalent of like an epidural?
That would qualify as giving him some level of anesthesia, which would make it more difficult to figure out the solution to this problem. If you keep him awake, basically, you're going to have an easier time, but he is definitely going to be in more pain, and he's going to die quicker. But then you do also have 2 Klingons. But I think the first task here, before you can start treating the situation with the augment virus, is you need to exactly see what's going on. This is something that Dr. Bateman really didn't do. She was more focused on keeping them alive, and she just dealt with the symptoms immediately, which led to her freezing them. And then she had other problems to deal with. So she doesn't exactly have a clear report for you on what's going on with them. So that would be the first step. But the same thing applies. If they're unconscious, it's going to be more difficult.
Okay, we've got a couple options here, Johan. We can either do this quick and dirty while he's in pain and it'll be easier, or we take the slow and steady way and sedate him, but it makes things more difficult.
To get an accurate read on what's happening, I will need him conscious, but I believe I could do something for him. Block the pain receptors in his brain. He'll still be feeling pain, he just won't be able to perceive it.
I guess we don't have much of an option.
In times of war, no. And he's gonna walk over to the Klingon. Is he still wearing, like, his full armor that we see a Klingon in?
Yeah, he's still wearing his full armor. He does not have a disruptor, which the token shows.
Does he have a knife, though?
No, he's been disarmed completely.
Okay.
Physically, it looks like they did treat his physical ailments, like he might have been hurt, in whatever ship he was on when it was destroyed. So other than this situation that's going on with the augment virus, he's in, good health.
Yeah. I'll go walk over to a panel and just tap a few things, and as before mentioned, that Klingon chanting music starts up.
Okay.
Well, let's wake him.
So everyone else, how do you feel about this music playing?
I mean, Arnold's into it.
Of course.
This is unsettling, but I can bear with it.
I mean, it could be worse. He could be playing the Beastie Boys. I'm just going to put that out there.
Don't tempt him.
Hey, the Beastie Boys are a national treasure. You shut your mouth.
So who's
I'm sad we never got to see Nicolas Cage as a Klingon.
God.
So Johan, are you administering this idea that you had that's gonna basically kill his brain but make him still feel pain, if I understood correctly?
It blocks the part of the brain that perceives pain.
I should mention too that you are the information you do have is the problem that the augment virus is kind of built on. The reason it's so bad is it does damage their neural system. So adding on to that, maybe with a drug, might be also bad.
Oh, I'm thinking of modifying a cortical inhibitor.
Okay. Why don't
we make drug, but
why don't we make that a rule? Actually, let's see, Johan, are you going to do that, or is Linaris going to do that for you?
Let's see. What depends what role we're doing. Like what?
Linaris is a specialist in anesthesia, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
I'm asking because Linaris is actually very qualified to do this, but this was your idea, Johan.
If he feels comfortable doing it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine doing that. Even he hesitates, but he's willing to do so.
He understands what he needs to do.
Yeah.
My idea is like, well, when the nervous system fires, it's sending electrical impulses to the brain to let you know something's up. You're touching something, grabbing something, burning, hurting, whatever. So he wants to use the cortical stimulator to record all that, but then block any of that going to the brain. So he's gathering information, then he can just piecemeal it together.
I'm going to count that as a form of anesthesia, though. Just a different kind. So, like I said before, what will happen is with him under some kind of anesthesia, which in this case is going to be this cortical stimulator, the task of treating him will be more difficult because you won't immediately be able to perceive a response from him.
Mm.
It's still doable. It's just the benefit of having him up and aware was that you could make treatments, you can make adjustments basically and see an immediate response, but this will not allow that to happen. It was just the two. Oh, go ahead.
I like the idea too that since it's a device, it's set to 0. He can slowly just dial it back up. It's like, okay, now to 1, 2, put it back to like full, so he can control how much is going through.
Control how much pain?
Yeah, how much it's either blocking it all, or he can slowly weaken the field so it allows more and more sensation to be back to the Klingon.
Okay. Well, I think what will happen is when you apply this, if this task succeeds, the Klingon will basically be just knocked out, for all intents and purposes.
Mm.
But Lenaris, let's maybe do, I think this qualifies perhaps as a medicine, this is probably a medicine daring for you. I think I'm going to make this a difficulty of 4.
Okay.
But you do have a focus.
Somehow assist.
Let's see here. Anesthetics is a focus.
Dax, I don't think in this case you could assist unless you can come up with a creative way that you would assist here.
Let's see here.
I mean, not particularly, other than the fact that the Dax symbiote knows Klingons like really well. So you have the information of the past lives, which actually would be the Trill talent.
Let's see. I think I can push through this on my own, though. I think, being the keyword.
Because
I would like to pop one of my values for determination.
Okay.
Of I can't change history, but I can change what writes it.
Sure.
I will take 2 momentum for a 3rd die. And we shall see where that takes us.
Dax, let's say you can assist with a medicine insight.
I was going to say, if I use my joined trait, once permission, you declare that your former host had experience with a relevant skill in the field of study. Dax was the ambassador of Klingon.
Yeah.
And you gain the single focus for the remainder of the scene.
That sounds right. So I mean, Dax would kind of be the authority on Klingons.
So that's 3 successes. So I do need an assist here.
Dax, but let's make your complication range of 17 to 20.
All right. So insight, medicine.
Yeah, medicine, insight.
Okay. And xenobiology.
Yeah, sure.
17 to 20 complication. That's what complication range 3.
Yeah.
Please.
I only rolled 1, but okay.
Hey.
That's all you needed.
No. All right, so couple of things I want to do here. Because I'm assuming there's going to be more medicine tasks after this.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing here.
I would like to activate my talent of practice makes perfect. So once per scene, whenever I succeed at a medicine task relating to the treatment of a patient, reduce the difficulty of the next medicine task relating to that patient by 1.
Okay.
And I'm looking at things here.
So my success was actually a crit because it was a 2. For some reason, it rolled control command.
Then, so we actually
do have an extra momentum then, yeah.
So yeah, we got.
I will then spend that momentum to activate Fellowship Specialty Anesthetics. So whenever this character succeeds on a task where the focus is involved, the cost to create an advantage is reduced by 1 to a minimum of 1.
Cool.
And I'm trying to think what the advantage would be, though. Can we say, like, the advantage would be that it takes a little longer for this unnamed Klingon to start feeling pain once Johan cranks it up? Because I would like him to be as
comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, here's the two sides of the coin that I didn't really tell you guys yet, because you kind of went for the more humane side. If you go for the less humane side, like if you're like, we don't care about this guy's pain, we just want to get through this. If you go that way, the extended task, which is coming up, is going to be much easier. However, every time you roll, you're going to have to give me 2 threat. So that's the trade-off.
Yeah, I don't like that.
The extended task, if you don't do that, if you try to be humane, is going to be much more difficult.
Oh.
Either way, there is a countdown of this guy's life that will start, because until you've actually cured him, he's dying quickly. He dies faster if you take the easier way. He dies slower if you take the more humane way.
And what does Johan want? Says no.
To have a control. And he has a little control wheel now.
So, are you saying you're wanting to take this the slower way or the faster way?
I'm fine with the easier way.
I took a point
Okay.
off of Starbase 23 while we were talking also.
Let's move quick. Your first task of this is going to be reduced by a difficulty of 2, so reduced by 2, so have fun.
Excellent.
So the first step is you need to diagnose him. You need to really figure out what's going on with this guy, because no one's really done that yet. So that can be something that I think one of you can assist with and one of you can lead on. It's a medicine reason, just a normal diagnosis. The difficulty, since you took it down by 2, it's just a difficulty of 2.
Okay. And so I'm looking
This
at
will take 2 intervals to complete. And you could, of course, spend momentum to reduce that down to 1 interval. The intervals will matter when we start going to the extended task to treat him, but the longer you take to diagnose him, the more it's going to go back into how long he has to survive. So if you don't care about him because you got 2 Klingons, you could save your momentum because there's an extended task coming up, or you could try to reduce it.
Let's save the momentum for the extended task.
Gotcha. But it's a medicine reason, difficulty of 2, and 1 person could assist. Doesn't matter who.
Emergency medicine as a focus?
Yep.
If I assist, I have a 12 with emergency medicine and xenobiology.
If I assist, I have a 15, and I have xenobiology as a focus.
Okay, Linaris is the assistant.
All right. Yeah.
So there's the 2 we needed.
And do we have another?
There's momentum.
Huzzah.
So what happens is, Linaris, as you've attached the device to him, the Klingon comes awake, his eyes open, he kind of spasms a bit. Arnold, which draws your attention, of course. He hits the tray that's next to his bed and it falls to the ground. But Johan, as you run your tricorder over his head, he still seems to be immobilized. His eyes are looking around like he's conscious, but he doesn't really seem to be moving under his control. It's just spasming as his body is coming awake, and whatever's happening to him is continuing to happen. But what you notice from your scan is that what's happened here is the Levodian flu, which was the original cause of this augment virus. So originally what the Klingons were trying to do is they were trying to take augment DNA, apply it to the Klingon DNA to give them those augmented traits. Well, unfortunately, they did this on somebody that had the Levodian flu. So what the Levodian flu did was it actually incorporated the augment DNA and became like a super killer virus for Klingons. And what it does is it causes their neural system to break down, and it's also highly contagious. So what you've got here is you've got the Levodian flu, which is screwing up his neural system. So what you first have to do is you have to kill the Levodian flu, and then you have to figure out a way to restore his neural systems. So that's what you have before you.
Okay. I know last session we played, I asked Sofenk for Arik Soon's research and all access pertaining to the augment virus.
I mean, I think I made it very clear then that you had whatever resources you needed to get this done.
Alright, so I would have the reports on the original cure, would I not?
You would?
Okay. I'm going to just see how much this virus has changed from the original virus.
The problem is that the Levodian flu part has mutated significantly, such that the treatment the Klingons had incorporated is no longer useful at all. Like, you're basically starting from scratch on how to eradicate this thing. It's really not even fair to call it Levodian flu anymore. It's something else. Other than that, the damage it's done to the neural systems of the Klingons is virtually the same.
Interesting. Much like it's a similar flu that made their foreheads, and he'll pat his forehead like smooth. It looks like it's mutated enough to be no longer affected by their immune system. So, start from scratch. But the first issue, though, is how to repair the damage to the corrupted, degraded neural pathway. If we had nanites, we could inject them and they could possibly rebuild and regenerate. But we don't have access to that, so we have to look at another viral infection. Something that could keep up with it.
Weird question, Johan. I know I'm a silver blood. Could I possibly... It might involve sacrificing myself, but could I possibly try and replicate some of this? Would that help?
Worth a try. Give me a finger or two.
And he just kind of like slowly puts out his hand. I can make sure I don't feel much pain, so please make it quick.
He'll reach out and just stick you with a hypro. He's like,
okay.
Yeah.
Now, what are we doing here?
Taking some of Linares' blood, hoping for it to revert back, and then we're going to try and apply it to the neural pathways as a fix, but first we need to find a cure.
Okay, so you're going to apply the cure on Linares first?
We have a potential fix for the pathways with Linares' blood, since they're able to replicate into, whatever tissue they come in contact with. So hopefully they might be able to restore the damaged pathways. But now we need to find a cure for the virus itself.
Yeah, for the flu. Yeah, Johan, you do realize that, like I said before, treating this will just it'll take you longer if, with him sedated in the way that he is, the Klingon. So if you were not sedated, if you applied a change specifically to the Linodium flu, if you started like manipulating his DNA, you would see an immediate response. And then so in the augment virus episode on Enterprise, they were, like their ridges were popping out of their head, they were screaming, like their teeth were growing or shrinking and all that. All of that is hidden from you when he's sedated.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know if it's as effective. You just kind of have to wait and slowly see it happen. And then also your scans kind of catch up later.
He's just going to tap his chin for a second. Could introduce a fever, help burn out the flu in his body, raise the temperature so it can't survive. Or we can instruct his white blood cells to start targeting them. But we would need to first infect his system so he knows what to target.
Basically, create a vaccine.
Essentially, yes. But I would like to ramp up his immune system. The downside to the Klingons messing around with the augment virus was the augment virus originally was designed for humans, to be given at childhood. It would slowly change them into an augmented human. The Klingons didn't want to wait that long, so they decided to make it accelerate, make their changes rather rapid. And on account of that...
And their bodies couldn't account for that rapid change.
They were also lazy and didn't account for the fact that the virus was maintaining its human genome structure. That's why they have the fun appearance of looking like just a human. Oh, Klingon doctors. If you can call them that. Very well. Let's attempt to introduce a vaccine to his system, and at the same time, let's also work on boosting his immune system.
I'll work
Help
on
it
the
learn.
immune booster.
But still keeping him under anesthesia?
Once we start working on something to inject him with, then I will crank it up.
Okay.
But I'm wanting to record what's happening exactly to his neural pathways, even though he's technically out, but he's now thawed. I want to see what's happening during that process. Like, what specifically is it targeting? Is it part of the brain that's for aggression? Is it long-term memory, short-term memory? What area is it actually going after first? Or is it, like, spread across the whole brain?
Well, let's say you're going to take the more aggressive stance. This is what it sounds like you're trying to do here. However, the first check that you do, I won't make you give me threat because of Linaris's advantage. However, every following check after that on this extended task, you're going to have to give me threat because it sounds like you're going to turn that off and he's going to start feeling pain.
Yeah. Is he able to look at, like, is he conscious to talk?
Yeah, he's conscious. He's not talking though.
Alright. Gonna look at him and pat him on the cheek.
And he looks at you very quickly and then looks away. And Arnold, do you have any kind of empathy or telepathy as a Vulcan?
No, he does not. At least I didn't give him any such things.
Okay.
Johan's gonna lean down and just whisper, "You are a proud warrior. What you're going through will be painful than any other battle you can even imagine. And when you die, you will die a glorious death for your people. Remember that."
So this extended task I'm calling Today is a Good Day to Die. And let me tell you what you've got here. Since you guys didn't spend any points to reduce the interval cost when you diagnosed him, I've taken 2 off of the intervals. And intervals for this guy means his life. When you run out of intervals, he's dead. You do have a spare Klingon, so what'll happen is when you bring that Klingon, if this guy dies, we'll just reset it at 6.
Alright.
You have a work track of 15. You need 5 breakthroughs, and the difficulty here is 5. It also has 3 resistance. So this first up, I think you said you were going to try to infect him with a virus, or you're going to raise his body temperature to see if you could burn it off?
Yeah, we're going to raise the body temperature to see if that weakens the virus, at the same time giving him an immune booster that is designed to target the core point of the flu. So basically looking at the flu without the augmented side attached to it.
Okay.
Just to try and teach his body to target it. And the booster to make his immune system just pump out white blood cells. Or the equivalent of little warrior cells for Klingons' immune system.
Little Kalos white blood cells, got it.
Yeah, they have full-on beards.
And batleths, yeah, that fits.
Why does that make so much sense in my brain?
I just imagine a Klingon's kids book of talking about, like, what their blood's like.
I think the Klingon blood also has the ridges. The cells have ridges. That amuses me greatly.
Yeah, the white blood cells are Kalos because he has a white furry jacket.
That is great.
They're Kalis cells.
So yeah, who wants to lead this? It sounds like it's Johan. I think this is probably medicine during what you're going for. It sounds like it.
Excellent. Toxicology, emergency medicine, surgery, cocktail chemistry, biology.
I think chemistry, I don't think this is surgery quite yet. You could, because I know you have a talent that deals with surgery. That's going to be a different approach, which you could sell me on, but so far you haven't needed to go into surgery yet.
All right.
And Linaris, you can assist, but yeah, you can assist here. Let me take a look at Linaris's values real quick.
Oh, good.
I will buy 1 threat, spend dice, because I have bold medicine.
Stop.
I said 1. I didn't say for the beans. I said 1.
Linaris, you have a value here. Everyone deserves a chance to live. This Klingon He's only got 4 intervals to live. This path you guys are taking is not going to give him a chance to live. To really play it up for you too, I will give you a determination if you ignore this value, but also on top of that, you will be ignoring exactly what Bateman told you to do. She said to call her if you were making some questionable decisions. This is kind of a questionable decision, but I'll give you determination if you ignore that and if you challenge that value.
I'll say, she said, I'll make you a deal if you run by me what you're doing. She didn't give me an order. She said, I'll make you a deal.
I know that this is the... I know that the faster route might give us results quicker, Johan, but I think this Klingon deserves every chance he has to live.
Well, to be fair, we are giving him the chance to live. We don't do anything, he dies regardless.
But if we do it the quick and dirty way, he dies faster.
But if we do it this way, there's a chance. Do nothing, he dies. End of story. Why am I on Johan's side?
Damn good question.
Because my side's practical.
If this is going to be the case, he's gonna let Dax assist. Linares isn't assisting here.
It's okay. I already said that Dax will help with the immunoboosters.
And Linares, you also realize that once your device, your cortical inhibitor, once that wears off, which it will wear off after this one attempt, this guy's going to be in intense pain. Like, he's been very low level, like he hasn't really been reacting much, but once that cuts off, he's going to be in extraordinary pain.
Is he at least strapped down?
He's strapped down now. Hey,
but
augment virus. Augment virus. Who knows what happens?
Yeah, but augment virus mixed with Klingon.
You've seen firsthand what happens when a Klingon has their DNA manipulated, and it wasn't good.
Yeah. He's just going to stand by with a straight up just like a hypo spray to hopefully knock him out if he gets violent.
Okie dokie.
So it sounds like medicine daring for Johan and Dax. How are you going to assist?
I specifically said I'm going to help with the immunobooster.
So for you, it's probably a medicine control then. And you also have focus. We'll say it's that focus that you had before where you're the Klingon expert.
Got it. And xenobiology works really well for this too.
The difficulty is a 5.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a 5. And the work track has 3 resistance. I say we use a momentum to half the interval.
And you can also determine that after you've done the roll. I don't mind.
Okay. So I gave you a threat for an extra dice, but if it's difficulty 5, it only brings it up to 3.
What are you shooting for with a medicine daring?
16.
Okay.
GM recommendation, this is a time to spend determination because this first roll is the hardest.
Also true.
I will use a value. Sometimes pain is the best medicine.
Yikes, that's appropriate.
I told you he was not a nice character.
Extremely appropriate.
Alright. There we go.
You get your reroll from bold plus 2 auto successes.
Yep. And I will do the reroll.
Why is it rolling that?
I had an issue too with the old Johann sheet. I had to remake the sheet completely.
Gotcha. Because the one, I'm just gonna manually roll it.
Alright, I got my reroll,
I
so...
think you got 5 successes there, it seems.
Yeah, he got
Yep.
5 successes. My roll ended in a 16. But
Suzanne, what were you rolling for? Were you rolling for a 16?
13. So he got
13?
the 5 successes.
Cool.
13.
So no momentum gain.
Yeah.
That's what we get. Okay. So now's the time where you have to tell me if you want to spend momentum to reduce the interval.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Did we bust down the resistance a bit?
No, you did not.
No.
So what is the resistance?
3.
5? 3. Do we want to spend our last momentum to knock it down to 1 resistance? Because you're shooting what, 7 challenge die?
Yes.
I say use 1 momentum to get rid of 2 resistance.
So for
Okay.
this roll, you'll have 1 resistance.
Until you roll your challenge die.
So 7 dice.
Yes. 6 work.
6 work.
So that's enough for a breakthrough, adding in the resistance.
Yeah, your difficulty is now 4. You have 1 breakthrough, which means you have 4 more to go, and you need 9 more on the work track before that's complete. And you did give me...
Sorry.
And you did give me the momentum, so that was just 1 interval, so he has 3 left. Sorry, your question?
How quickly does his system respond to the immune booster?
The immune booster seems to have a little bit of an effect. You notice that as Linaris's inhibitor starts wearing off, it seems to have more of an effect.
Okay. And how about the fever? Is that helping with it?
No, it doesn't seem to be.
Okay. I want to try and... How would I add on to his intervals of time? Would that be trying to repair the brain damage?
You'd really have to have the cure. You really have to come up... You really have to solve this in 3 intervals, to be honest.
Okay.
Let's try that.
I mean, really doing the diagnosis and not taking off that interval was really hurting you guys here, but that's the only way. He has to be cured. There's no other way.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I mean, Johann,
surgery-wise?
you also think maybe in the back of your mind you have a spare Klingon in the room also.
Yeah, this is just guinea pig. Okay. Yeah, all we can do is just basically just keep doing what we're doing. I want to try and add in a... Oh, I know what. I want to try and find ways to reinforce the neural pathways.
That's solid. You know how to do that.
Yeah. Is that going to be surgery then?
All of a sudden, as you're reaching towards, your tricorder, you're starting to look at your tricorder, one of his restraints breaks free just as Linaris's device ends, and he lets out a long, long howl. It doesn't really make any sense. Like the universal translator doesn't translate it from Klingon to anything. It's just kind of gibberish. And he swings at you, Johann. So why don't you give me an opposed security daring, please?
He's swinging at the guy with the right hook.
Yep. Good news. Don't have a focus.
I'm just gonna laugh if this happens to be another Cardassian problem.
Hey, don't bring that up.
It's been brought up.
So what's his role, Jim? Because I gotta counter it.
My macro is not working, so give me a sec.
Should be daring security, if I remember correctly.
I'll just have to do it from the sheet. Hang on.
I have a 15.
God. I mean, my daring security is a 14. How are you better than the security officer?
It's like Johan was a backup character that I had put a lot of thought into.
Actually, just the base Klingon warrior NPC, security of 2, daring of 8. So not very good at this, actually.
This 80-year-old is more intimidating than the Klingon. Oh.
Oh, and a complication.
Oh,
This is bad for
God.
him.
Task, no focus. Okay.
Hey, we got momentum.
God damn it. This is
Now
the
I need to roll
worst way
damage.
Did we get 1 or 2 momentum off that?
You
I think we get 2.
You get 2 because I didn't roll a success, yeah. Oh, wait, no, the difficulty is 1, so you get 1 momentum, sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's
The difficulty is 1. So, Arnold, why don't you tell me what the complication here is?
Oh dear. I mean, do you want an evil one or do you want a slightly disfavorable one? Because I can go either way.
Well, he rolled a complication on himself while you guys were trying to treat him. I don't see how this is in any way good for him at all.
Well, then I think the complication is he literally breaks his nose in the process, and in doing so reduces the intervals by 1.
That is very evil.
That's why I asked.
Do I roll damage for this man?
I think taking the interval's enough.
Okay.
Thank God.
That feels pretty good. Unless you want to retaliate somehow, I don't think so. But he is still free. He hits his head perhaps on the cart that's near his bed and injures himself. But his flailing maybe translates to seizing at this point, and he pulls up one of the restraints on his legs, and he's kind of kicking sporadically. You can continue to treat him, but it will be a little more difficult because he's now a fighting Klingon, not sedate anymore.
Arnold, please apply your body mass to him.
I am not a security officer.
You're big, Arnold.
That does not mean I am good at this. I take offense.
You look like you're made out of titanium bricks. Just get over here and hold him down.
Arnold comes over and does attempt to hold him down.
Right,
with
Arnold,
his security score of a 2.
I mean, that's no better than the Klingon has.
Lower score than me.
He's just an engineer.
I mean, if need be, Dax can sit on top of him.
Oh, you gotta beat us in 1.
Okay, so what would the task be? Is it still daring medicine?
It's security daring if you're trying to restrain him.
Oh,
If you don't care about restraining him, then you could, do your thing.
It's okay, guys. I rolled 2 successes. Arnold's
Hey,
got this.
You got it.
beautiful.
I'd say since you didn't roll a complication that he's not injured, you do have 1 momentum, of course, because you did defeat the difficulty of 1 and you beat him. So you have 1 momentum. He's restrained, and no further complications or difficulty for continuing to treat him.
If I'm just asking a what-if question here, if Linares took the lead here in terms of developing the cure, since we're sort of experimenting here, would experimental medicine apply as a focus here?
Yeah, if you go the approach of trying something experimental on him, sure.
Okay.
I was going to operate on his brain.
Yeah, Johan's getting ready to actually get dirty over there, so you'd have to come at it from a different angle.
Okay, so we're trying to develop a cure for this flu, blah, 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 blah.
Remember also, with his pain inhibitor turned off, your next check is going to give me 2 threat, because he is in agony.
Yep.
Into the Woods is now stuck in my head.
I'm trying to think of a good way for experimental medicine to apply. Okay, hold on. Because we've got to develop a cure for the flu. Johan, I know you're about to start doing some very top-heavy work on the brain there. is there a way that we can possibly accelerate the working of his white blood cells without attacking his brain?
Well, the booster's already going to be taxing his systems with producing more white blood cells. We could burn it out, and then he would have to be on immunosuppressants for the rest of his life.
But could it help develop a cure faster in theory?
Yes, but then that would have to be applied to everyone else.
Could we give him a transfusion?
I am not
Potentially.
giving him a transfusion.
What I'm trying to do is appropriate the Anaprolean fever. It had some interesting side effects when it would attack someone's mind and brain. It would cause them to have mental lapses by densening the neural pathways, making it difficult for them to form new pathways or even to access previous ones. That's why they would slowly die from it. So this variant is to reinforce his pathways to prevent the decay. Hopefully its half-life will prevent the damage and also at the same time burn out as the flu and virus is taken care of.
Okay, would it be helpful if I at least tried to make some sort of, as you would probably put it, a cocktail to slow the decay down more?
For this to work, that's why I'm opening up his head a little bit. Applying it directly. But if you have an idea, we could try to implement it in.
I guess I'm thinking if you're interacting with the brain, there has to be some way we can slow the decay down even more. Okay. I'll have to try something on the fly. You mind if I take the lead on this?
Now, out of character, I do have the surgery savant talent.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good talent.
That's a miracle worker talent.
It is.
And honestly, you need to trigger it both intervals that you roll here, otherwise it's impossible to succeed.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. You take the lead since you said that.
If the Klingon dies, you don't reset your progress. By the way, you just you lose a Klingon.
We just lose the Klingon.
You lose a Klingon, and you have to give me 2 threat. So you have 2 threat for doing this at all because he's not sedated. And I don't know if I told you this, but if he dies, you give me 2 threat also.
And I would simply point out, look at a certain starbase's health.
Yeah, let's make this quick. Go.
All right. So surgery, focus. Cocktail, biology, talent.
I think in this case it's probably a medicine control for surgery, unless you're doing something a little fantastical.
It's your existence is fantastical.
I'm exposing a Klingon to a disease that's meant for Xindi. Trying to make it bridge that gap so it can start working on denting up those neural pathways. Modified, of course, too.
How about this, Johan? I'll let you do medicine daring, but you know that if you make a complication here, you might actually unleash this on everyone in the room. Oops.
Yeah, it's not the first time you have to deal with this virus.
Okay, so you could probably deal with that then, but this could go wrong and infect everyone in the room.
Could I say I'm assisting him in some way?
Yeah, you could assist with surgery, sure.
I'm gonna just get into a nice little suit for easy decon.
I mean, you could. What'll happen is I will increase the difficulty because of being in a suit.
Yeah, no, I won't bother with that. I gotta get these Klingons cured. Okay.
Yep. I want to make some random kind of cocktail drug to is there, I guess, like wherever it starts to decay wherever it is during this surgery, where I can kind of just, essentially play whack-a-mole and like just sort of zap it with whatever I need to.
It's an image.
Well, what's happening is the virus is finding its way to wherever these neurons are, I imagine, and it's just tearing them up. So what you could do is make a cocktail that just makes it a little harder for it to find them while he's trying to do this.
Yeah.
Not a permanent thing, but just sort of slowing it down.
Sure.
I think for you, though, that's probably medicine control. That sounds pretty
Okay.
routine for Linaris. And you both do have a focus.
Cool. So I'm A-okay on this. Let's see what our good old Dr. Johan rolls first here.
Momentum to half the interval.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably...
1 threat for bold medicine.
And you have to give me 2 more because he's not sedated.
Yep. That puts the GM at 7. Okay. I have to beat a 4, so I got 3 dice.
And you have
Don't have a determination.
And you have a reroll.
I do have a reroll, at least.
You have a
So here we
reroll
go.
and an assist.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Let's go!
There's the 4.
And do we still have a resistance of what difficulty?
You still have
3?
a resistance of 3. However, you'd have to give me threat if you want to take down the interval. Or this will be his last interval.
No, we just gave you the last momentum.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So you guys okay with a threat for the resistance reduction?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like we kind of have to.
I'm kind of with you there.
Because you have to roll super high to get past
Yeah.
the resistance of 3.
Yeah. Alright, so we'll do that.
I'd say give him 2 at this point. We're already in the danger zone.
Yes, said it. Okay. Question, what was the resistance before?
It was
It's a-
resistance of 3.
It's
always
a
been 3.
Yeah, it's
It
a
was
3
three,
when
but
you spend
we-
momentum. It's just for the next roll. It's not permanent.
No, I thought a breakthrough, though, brought it down.
No, just
brings
down
the
the
difficulty.
difficulty,
Oh.
yes.
Okay, oh, difficulty, okay. Okay, yes, so then, yeah, I guess we'll do 2. Because danger zone. And
Well,
here's
since
the
you're giving
roll.
me so much threat, I'm going to also spend some of it right away.
Now you're gonna have to spend 1 more threat to reroll those zeros.
Yep. That's 4.
Okay. So that's 2 breakthroughs.
2 breakthroughs. Just
Because
one.
surgery savant, baby.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 breakthroughs.
So now it's difficulty 3, and we got 1 interval left.
We got another 6 work.
Not to be a Debbie Downer, but I have to roll an effect for 2 breakthroughs.
That's what
Those are
Yeah,
all
you did.
those are
Yeah, those are all effects.
Are those?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the deltas are effects.
Why am I thinking they're supposed to look different?
They do. If you roll a 1, let me see if
It's
I can
just a
roll
1.
it real quick.
Yeah, see, I did. Just
Yeah,
a 1.
like a 1 will
Oh,
look like a 1.
Okay, I thought they had like a different color completely. Okay, shit. Okay.
I made it match the actual dice. They look just like that.
Oh, okay.
So what you're seeing, Johan and Linaris, is a combination of things. So Linaris, your cocktail is actually slowing down the virus considerably, and this disease that you've plopped into his brain is actually starting to slow and kill the virus. And Linaris, you're actually seeing that you can begin to regenerate some of his neural system by manipulating his neurons in the same fashion. So you have a good start on the cure.
Okay.
Like you feel like you're getting there. However, this guy, he continues to convulse, and you have to hold him, Arnold, and he's letting forth just like this long Klingon howl, and it's not even words, it's just in pure agony and pain. And actually in the corner you see Ronnie, and she's got her hands over both of her ears, and she looks totally frightened.
Johan's just humming a song.
And what do you think, I guess from your perspective, Josh, what's the last step that we have here in terms of essentially developing the cure here. Because obviously we got the virus itself, being killed by this disease. What's our final step?
Probably introducing like a retrovirus yourself that you've engineered that's going to target the virus specifically, and then using that treatment that you came up with, Linares, to regenerate his neural pathways.
Okay.
But Linares, before we do all that, can you give me a medicine insight difficulty of 2? And you do have a focus.
Sure.
This is very important, by the way.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I imagine the fever that he's giving him and strengthening of the neural pathways. It's they're also helping burn out the flu at also the same time starving them out too, because then they can't penetrate the pathways because it's too dense.
Okay, I'm thinking here. Is this something with the Klingon, or is it something with me? Since I know we were looking at injecting some of my silver blood stuff into him.
Don't think we've done that yet.
Oh, my bad.
I would say this is probably a factor of just you being a silver blood and your whole nature is dealing with DNA and what's going on with the Klingon.
Okay, here's my question. I'm shooting at a 16 with Insight Medicine, so I have a decent chance of getting the 2 successes we need. Should I give him a threat for a 3rd die to be extra sure? Because he said this is important, which is what's concerning me.
It's your kid on that ship. So...
I mean, it's not Linares' kid, but yeah, I'll give you a threat for a 3rd die.
Okay.
And
so I get you 1 momentum.
So we get a momentum back. Good.
Before we do that, let me do this.
Yep.
You realize, Linares, as you're looking at what's happening to the Klingons, and the Klingon as this treatment's happening, and it's wiping out the Levodian flu that's mutated. What you're realizing is the changes to this Klingon DNA from the augment virus, or the original augment experiment, are being applied basically. So this Klingon, when you cure him, you're removing the flu, but the DNA changes from the augment virus are going to persist, meaning this Klingon is going to be smarter, he's going to be stronger, he's going to be faster. And that's not something you can separate from this cure. That is a natural thing that's happened from his DNA being augmented.
So we're essentially changing the augment virus to essentially become part of Klingon DNA. And in curing them, we are creating augmented Klingons.
You are curing the neural system breakdown part of this problem by killing the flu. You are not removing the enhanced DNA changes that have happened from the augment virus.
Okay.
So this guy, he's going to be smarter than he was before he got sick. He's going to be faster. Yeah.
Better and yeah. So essentially, would that also apply to all the other Klingons we cure, we can assume?
Yes. It can't be separated.
Got it.
It's basically their DNA has been changed by this virus. What you've done is cure the lethal part of the virus. The DNA change is there. Like,
gotcha.
He is changed.
Johan, we can cure it, but they're still going to be augmented.
That's not a concern right now.
Agreed. Given what we were talking about for the last step, I think it's actually good for Linares to take the lead here. I think. Because now it's actually like... Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you agree, Shizno? I'm asking you.
I'm asking... Well, we have 2 more breakthroughs to do. One interval left.
Yeah. Because we can at least use that 1 momentum we have to shave resistance.
Here's the thing. You can still succeed, and he dies and still be okay. Like, you've spent the interval when you do this, for sure. But if you actually achieve all the successes, he's dead, but you've still succeeded.
I'm taking it from the perspective of, Lenara still kind of wants to try and make sure this guy can live, so he wants to take the lead on this, even if he fails.
All right.
I don't think you can reduce the interval down to 0. I don't think that's possible.
Right. I mean, he's still trying anyway.
Okay, so I think he's
Or
dead either way.
He probably knows he's going to fail, but he's going to try anyway.
So wish I could use my determination.
Okay, so it's a difficulty 3 task.
2.
2. Oh yeah, that's right, because double breakthrough. Okay. What's the task here?
I think Linaris, it's going to be a. Actually, you know what? Let me introduce a complication here.
Oh, good.
Arnold, you've been holding down the Klingon this entire time. However, his screaming and his shouting and all the commotion. You look for just a minute at Ronnie, who's just, off in the corner, huddled. She's got her hands over her ears because the screaming is so loud. And the Klingon, with a surge of activity, tries to break through again. So I need you to roll that security daring for me, opposed against him.
Yeah.
Leave it to Arnold. Shit.
Yeah, he wins ties.
So he breaks through.
I'll go ahead and roll my damage, because that could be... He only has 3. Yeah, I guess he only has a score of 2.
Score of 2, yeah. So 3 challenge dice, 2 damage. But more important,
that's his unarmed attack, yeah?
Yeah, unarmed.
Then I am also knocked down.
Oh, that's right. So Arnold, you go flying back as the Klingon pushes you away. Maybe you spiral back to the doors. But what's worse is now the Klingon is free. So let's maybe move to combat. He's already acted.
Oh,
I'm going to put Arnold down. Arnold, you can be the last player that acts here.
Sure.
But Dax, Linaris, or Johan, what would you like to do?
I'm just going to punch him.
I was going to try to hold him down. I have combat maneuvers as the focus.
All right, I'll let you go first. If you fail it, then I'm going to punch him.
I mean, I'm shooting for 14. So I actually have a lot of...
He could double crit.
So could I. All right. I will, seeing that he broke free, I will run forward and try to pin him onto the bed.
Okay, let's do the opposed roll. Daring security, please.
I am shooting for 14.
I'm going to buy an extra dice.
Does combat maneuvers count as a focus?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Anybody opposed to me using the momentum for the third die because I have cautious security? I also have quick to action, actually.
Oh, of course the Klingon gets 3. Of course. In this case, I'm gonna say sure.
I'm doing that. I'm shooting for 14 with the focus.
Okay.
I think that's
Reroll
3.
the 15. Yeah, that's 3. I'm gonna reroll the 15.
You've still won.
Oh, he
So you
wins
have-
even more now.
Yeah, 4,
But
so
I
you
get
have a
that-
momentum.
I get the momentum back.
So-
And
Roll your challenge dice damage for me, please. This is important.
what is unarmed? 1 plus?
One
Yeah,
plus
1 plus security.
The one time I
Any
don't-
effects that you roll here, I'm going to apply as damage to him, and considering he only has 1 interval left, this will probably finish him off. That's actually
was
a good...
very good roll.
That I think Klingon resistance would be 3, so that would have not been an injury anyway. But I'm going to say the condition he's at, what happens, Dax, is as he pushes Arnold aside, you go forward and you maybe hit him or something. He falls back onto the bed. There is a gurgle, and he is dead.
You just hear Dax go, God bless it.
And because he's dead, I'm taking 2 threat.
We're essentially ready, right? We just need to, I guess, inject him now. Looking over to Norg.
No, we can do something else now. Since he's in suspended animation, we have a little bit of time. I have a solution for the augment being activated. He was gonna die anyways, if not to the procedure, but to me. Can't let a Klingon have the augmented ability. Not the whole entire culture, especially.
We should focus on curing them right now. Not trying to turn on... We can figure out the augment stuff later. We need to figure out how to cure them.
And right now, Johan, your options as far as them being augmented are you let them die, or you cure them and they stay augmented.
Oh, Johan has an idea.
We don't... And Linares is like just... We don't have time.
We have plenty of time for this.
Have you seen what's going on with Starbase 23? We are focusing on the cure, not deactivating the augment.
And what do you think will happen when the Klingon Empire all receive the cure and they become augments? There won't be a war. It'll be a massacre. As I was saying before you got so hot-headed and you decided to keep interrupting me, you are the helpful little key for this. You're able to assimilate and adapt to whatever material you touch. Your blood can be manipulated in such a way that it then does the same to them, restoring their original genetic makeup. You are the retrovirus. Now, do you have anything else to say to me? Or do you want to continue to interrupt and waste time? No? Good.
Fuck you, Johan.
Many people have tried.
Feel sorry for them.
I doubt it.
Now, if you can put aside your issues, let's start working on delivery system.
And we're actually going to take this moment, just as this conversation ends, to cut back to the bridge. So Sophanth, as the evacuation's been going on, you're moving the wounded from the hospital to the ship. You know, it's going along fairly quickly. You're noticing
There's a butt there. What's the butt?
You've been noticing over the communications that Starbase 23 is just taking a pounding. And most of the starships around the starbase have been destroyed or disabled. And the starbase itself, which was not very heavily armed to begin with, she is not in a good place. And from what the Commodore told you about scuttling the station, it's probably going to happen soon. The
here's
battle
my question: how are we doing on ships versus their ships? Are we completely losing? Are we still 2-1? Are we now to 4-1? What's the ratio there?
The Klingons are pulling ahead. They still outnumber you guys. I'd say you're about 3-1 at this point, mostly because as you're watching communications, the Klingons are attacking ruthlessly. Many of the ships are doing the suicide maneuvers very similar to what the Jem'Hadar would do. When they could probably withdraw and be fine, many of them are choosing to just ram the Starfleet vessels, killing themselves and the ships as well. They're also attacking without regard to their safety at all, even more so than Klingons would normally. So the situation is, the Klingons, they outnumber you guys before, but they're just inflicting so much damage that they're pulling ahead.
It's a crazy thought, but would it be possible for Sophanth to essentially bluff that we may have found a cure at this point?
You could always say that you have a cure, to give to the Commodore or someone else.
No, broadcasting pretty much sector-wide, hey, we found a cure, stop blowing each other up, kind of a thing.
You could try it.
That also might be a way to get more subjects. We have working.
Well, here's the thing, though. The problem is that Johan specifically did a blackout protocol. So unless one of you has told Sophanth that you are very close to having a cure, this is a pure bluff. So I guess the question becomes, would Johann have in any way communicated back to Sophanth or told someone to do so?
Johan hasn't, because he hasn't cured the last guy yet. He doesn't know if it's going to work. Like, in his mind, yeah, it should work, but he doesn't want to say, hey, it's going to, and then all of a sudden, hey, we got a trilobite on our floor now.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Klingon, but now it's a trilobite.
So yeah, Sophanth is working in the dark here. It's a very hard bluff. And the problem is the only way we know about this in the first place is because of Dax. You know what? I'm gonna try it, if only because it might save some lives. So I give the order for a sector-wide channel to be opened.
And the nameless person at the communication station says, Captain, you're good. They look a little surprised because they have no idea what you have up your hooves.
Attention, all Klingon forces in the area. My name is Commander Sophanth. I am currently heading a team that is working on a way to cure what ails you, to borrow a phrase from the humans. We know what you tried to do with the augment virus, and why we can debate that at another time. The important thing is this. We think we have a way to stop you all dying out, but we obviously can't help you with that if you keep killing us. So I will offer an honorable compromise. Lay down your arms, cease fire, and await further instructions and transmissions on the cure, and we will provide said cure. However, if you keep attacking Starbase 23 and the forces there, well, let's just say that we can always keep retreating and you can keep dying. The choice is yours. And then I signal to close the channel.
I was looking for a value to challenge for you, Sophanth, but I think this is actually right up your character's wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
I am literally holding all the cards right now.
This is perfect. And Sophanth believes in gambling and making bluffs like this. So I think this is perfect for their character.
Mm-hmm.
Let's maybe do a presence command, and I'm sorry, this is going to be really hard. This is going to be difficulty of 7.
Of 7, Jesus! I think that's the highest it's ever been in your game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's think about what we can do here. Obviously, determination to give me the 2 free successes to start off with. I have a focus in persuasion. None of my. Oh wait, no, I have extraordinary attribute for presence. So I actually have 3 successes already, but the complication range is 17 to 20 now.
The ship can assist, but remember, like I said before, because they're demoralized, the ship will have to do the higher complication range as well, 17 to 20.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just price of doing business. So the ship would be assisting with what? The communications and command?
Yeah, I think so. And if I remember right, the Hope actually is very good at that.
It surprisingly is.
Yeah, 16.
So let's say that that's 4 successes. We're counting chickens before they hatch, but that's what we're going to go with. We have the 1 momentum right now. I will give you 1 momentum, and I think I have to give you 4 threats so that I'm rolling 4 dice here. But if it works, it works. So let's see what happens. Okay, that is quite a lot of successes. That is already 9 successes.
2 momentum.
Shit.
Doing communications command?
Communications command, yep.
And
that
it
is
got a
10 successes.
So we have 3 momentum.
10 successes.
Which could be key in helping us hurry the hell up and actually find the cure.
So Sophanth, what you notice happens, and you see this on the display of your chair, is that your bluff seems to have worked. The Klingons have stopped attacking the station. However, a huge force, let's say maybe a third of the Klingon fleet, peel off their attack and aim towards your location at maximum warp. They have not changed their disposition. They're not, shields are up, weapons are still charged. They are just heading for you at their maximum speed.
It's about what I expected. And I say to Mr. Gigawatt, I think you're going to be needed in your fighter craft.
Gigawatt, as soon as you stand up from your console, your display beeps and 2 vessels decloak off the bow of the Hope.
Son of a bitch. Are they Klingon vessels?
They are not Klingon vessels. Your console says that they are Akamarian ships, which totally goes against everything intelligence has on the Akamarian technology.
Commander.
Yes, I see them. Why are they there?
Don't have a damn clue.
Open a channel?
He'll open the channel, then quickly turns to Sophan's like, still want me to get to my ship?
Yes, you're going to be needed in your ship.
And like, while she's saying that, he's running off of the bridge.
And appearing on the display
is, do they respond through the channel or not?
Is Sovereign Jaren. You noticed on your display that they are jamming out of system communications. You'd have to make a roll to actually get through that Sophanth if you want to communicate outside of the system now, but as the ships materialized, or as they decloaked, a jamming field was activated. But appearing on the display is Sovereign Jaren, and he has that arrogant grin that he had before. And he says, don't remember you. Where's your captain?
It's not relevant to the current moment. Why are you jamming us?
Well, let's just say we got your transmission about a cure for the Klingon virus, and to put all the cards on the table, we want that cure. In fact, if you don't give that cure to us, we will destroy your ship.
Oh, you make funny jokes, Sovereign. You really think you can take on the Hope with your 2 ships?
And he says, I expected this from Starfleet arrogance. I would imagine that you...
Zyvor, torpedoes across their bow. Of course, Captain. And Zyvor doesn't like really aim for the ship. He just fires a torpedo, but it's mostly for effect. I'm not actually trying to hit them. And I will say, as the torpedo sails past them and explodes harmlessly behind them, Sophanth doesn't really stand up because she's always standing, but just sort of walks closer to the view screen and says, look, I know you have a messiah complex or whatever the hell you want to call it. You're not going to ruin the entire state of this quadrant over some petty bickering you had with the past captain. This is your one and only warning. Stand the fuck down, or I will destroy you with all due prejudice. I can speak today.
So at this point on your display, also, you see the tactical readout on these ships, and you guys knew from your away team mission on Akamar 3 that they were making deals with Klingons. Apparently, they were making deals with Klingons a little more than you knew, because these 2 ships, actually, are loaded down...
Are they Vorchas?
They're not Vorchas. They are scale 5, though. They are loaded with the latest in shields, Klingon disruptors, and photon torpedoes. So they are not quite as... If you were facing a normal Akamarian ship, this wouldn't even be a contest. You could just easily obliterate them. However, they do actually outgun you in this situation.
Well, they don't need to know that.
And Jaren says, let's put it this way. I'll take the cure that you have, but to let you live now, you'll also have to give me your captain. Then once...
You can have this instead. I flick him off, and I cut the channel.
Oh.
And I immediately slap my hand on the button that sends the Hope into red alert, general quarters, scramble everything. Basically, the shit has hit the fan in the most worst way possible button.
All right, Gigawatt, I guess you're going to your fighter, right?
Yep. I was already off of the bridge.
But let's go back to what's going on in the hospital room.
We don't have anybody to fire the weapons.
I mean, Sophanth will do it in a pinch.
I mean, Totax is on there. He's a fighter pilot, but he has a rather large control security.
So as we move back to the scene at the hospital room, you guys have replaced the dead Klingon, who I never gave a name, with Norg. Norg of the House Jimpak. He's the ambassador from Klingon space, actually, the Klingon High Council to the Akamarians. Very important to the Klingon people. But yeah, as immediately as you're getting ready to do this final treatment, you have to lower his animation field, and he would regain consciousness. And like I said, immediately be in pain, and you could continue on this last try to treat him if you'd like.
All right.
You guys have not checked in with the ship at all, just as a note.
Nope, that takes time. We're using all our time on this guy.
Okay, fair enough.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We're going to do the same type of surgery on the brain just to reinforce that. Because we want to make sure he survives. And then, what do we want to make this? Do you want to make this the delivery system now?
I feel like the delivery system might be a little more important in this circumstance.
All right, so yeah, then we'll work on the delivery system, which would be the equivalent of the silver blood. So it delivers the fever and the immune booster. At the same time, it goes to throughout the system to repair any augmented changes.
So you want to actually change the cure to also remove the augment DNA.
Yes.
But again, do you feel like because I have a semi-plan for Linares taking the lead on this, but I'm willing to hear answers. Other options, I mean.
That's what I got. So like basically like let's say a piece of his Klingon DNA changes to augment, silver blood comes over, and they're like, nope, that's not right. Goes back to normal.
If you want to change his augment DNA back to his normal DNA, I'm going to increase the difficulty through threat.
And let's see. So right now the difficulty's 2, so that would go up to what?
Let's see. I got 7 threat. I'd probably spend 4 threat to change it back to a difficulty of 2, and then I'd probably spend some more threat to.
I mean difficulty
probably
4?
Take off your work track. I'd spend 4 threat to change it to a difficulty 4. It's 2 threat, I think, for each difficulty.
I'm fine with that. We got 6 intervals.
And I think I've got some plans if Linares leads here. So
yeah, if you want to take a lead on that, since it's your blood.
Yeah, sure. What's the task here, sir?
I think because it does involve DNA manipulation, which is also it's DNA manipulation, so it would definitely be not a prime directive, but a violation of the Starfleet Medical Code for sure. So it's definitely medicine daring, I would say.
Okay. And it's difficulty 4. Okay. I would like to challenge my value of I can't change history, but I can change what writes it, because I'm allowing him to be in pain, and I'm not doing anything to change that.
That sounds good to me.
And I actually need to roll a challenge dice, because that is my orb experience value.
Ooh.
And it is not crossed out, so part of the orb experience comes to pass.
Let's maybe tie it in with Linares. So Linares, this is exactly what the original Linares did. He created a virus to try to stop the Cardassians, and that virus was then used in the future for bad purposes. Like, you guys killed the Romulans for doing this sort of thing. It just happened to be in the Romulans' favor at the time. So this could go wrong, and you could do the very thing that you guys stopped the Romulan resistance from doing.
And then I will immediately use that determination for the value of I cannot afford to fail. So that's 2. I shall take 2 momentum for a 3rd die. And would we say that Johan's probably assisting me here?
Johan, I think you can assist the same way. Medicine daring. And you do also have a focus here.
Excellent.
All right, so that's 2 successes.
Mm.
Oh, of course there's a complication. Of course, but we have the successes we need right now, at least.
Oh, whoops.
Oh, well, you got one.
And you rolled the same, actually, on both.
So you rolled 6s.
Yeah,
Can we just pay the GM off with threat for that complication?
I'm gonna hold on to that one, but I need to think about it a minute because you did roll a 20. Yeah, that's magical. I'm gonna think about that.
I would also like to maybe make an argument because I used the value of I cannot afford to fail to maybe help convince you to take threat, but
We're gonna so the way I'll apply this is maybe later in Linaris's future because this, like I said, this is a violation of the
sure.
It's not the Prime Directive, but it's the Starfleet Medical Code for altering DNA. Like you're doing genetic manipulation. This is against you would go to jail for this in normal circumstances if you weren't in the situation.
Sure.
So we'll apply that complication in that way.
All right.
But you have enough successes here. Yeah, if you just I think your next step is to roll
7
challenge dice.
Can I just say that it's fitting that in the middle of wartime we make the biggest medical contributions?
Oh, we don't even need to shave off resistance. That just completes the work track and all that fun stuff. Because we have enough for a breakthrough. We complete the work track. That's another breakthrough.
Yeah. That's 2
We're
breakthroughs.
good. We're good.
Yeah, that's good. So Norg, he blinks his eyes a little bit, and he pulls himself up a little bit on his elbows, but he's still strapped down. And he looks at you, the two of you, Linaris and Waltz, and he says, "I feel much better. Thank you."
Welcome back to the land of the living, Ambassador Norg.
And he laughs. Actually, you don't hear Klingons do too much. And he smiles and he says, I can't say I was expecting to see myself in a Federation hospital.
Yes, and now that we've helped you, I believe you can help us.
We know about your condition and the condition of your people. No need for you and your warriors to go to Grethor.
And he raises an eyebrow in a very Vulcan fashion. And he says, I'm surprised that you know about Grethor. I take it that I'm cured, which is why I feel so much better. Are you able to replicate this cure?
You should be able to, yes. And I know about Grethor because I grew up on Konos.
And you'd give this cure to me to give to my people freely, with no strings attached?
The only string is that you call off this war. We want your people to continue to exist.
And we wish to exist peacefully with you.
Klingons are a proud race. The only doctors I ever encountered on Konos were that for the children. There is no honor in a child dying to an illness or an injury, and there is no honor for them dying due to this disease.
But
you do not want your...
If we win in glorious combat, what does death matter?
You win in glorious combat for your soldiers and your warriors, but your children will be damned and die dishonorable due to a sickness. Would you condemn your child to be tortured by Feklar? Or would you want them to grow up and have a day where they can fight in glorious combat and die? Not at home and feeble and weakened to something they can't even perceive.
What do you propose?
Simple. We give you the cure. This war stops. Your children can grow to become warriors.
I will take this cure to the High Council. If I am cured, as you say, it will be a unquestionable truth. So, Johan, why don't you give me a command insight difficulty 2?
Doctor's orders don't apply to this?
I don't think so. This is more of a, I think actually interrogation would apply, but I don't think doctor's order is going to apply because you're not actually telling him to do anything.
Okay, but interrogation?
Interrogation is a focus, yeah.
Yes. Okay. I will give you one threat for a third dice.
Okay.
Yeah. Whew. Good thing I can reroll. Is it just the one I can reroll, or is it? Yeah, it's just one, right?
It's any. Oh no, it's one. It's one off of that talent. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Did you use your determination already?
Yes. But I could challenge. No, I haven't made friends with anyone. I have no value. I don't think I can challenge a value. I have no bedside manner. I have no time for friends.
Actually, you could challenge the value and try to become friends with this Klingon, and I'd give you determination.
Okay.
You'd have to really try
you
to
are-
be friends with this guy.
Are trying to make a connection with them.
It feels
Okay,
it's not too much of a stretch.
It's in the
Alright.
spirit of friendship.
So does that mean I reroll the 2 zeros then?
You can, yep.
Okay.
And the way I'll play it is, Johan, if you use this determination this way, you've made a connection with him talking about children. Maybe that unites or that ignites something inside of Johan, that it's not just casual talk. Like you actually believe what you're saying to him.
Yeah. Okay. I click the button.
Well, that's all you needed.
Hey.
What you're realizing is that he could take the cure and just give it to people he wants. He could just take it and use it for the followers of Jim Hawk because you know the Klingons are divided. You have no way of knowing that he's actually going to do what he's going to say, what he says he's going to do. Like if you give him this cure, you're putting a lot of faith in him.
I can give you this cure. You're essentially a walking specimen of it right now. Your people should be able to reverse engineer it. But I will say that I will transmit the information to anyone who requests it, as long as it's used to help. I've spent enough times in a Klingon facility to care for children.
Says, I will make a deal with you. I will give you the Klingon general communication frequency that you can transmit your cure to so that all Klingons that have a receiver will get it. I only have one condition.
And what's that?
And he points to Arnold. That one and I will share on a cask of blood wine.
Oh, that should be easy enough to do. I thought you wanted to fight him. I was just going to say you should fight me. I'm stronger.
I take offense to this again. This is like the third time.
I'm just stating a medical fact there, my big friend.
And with that, Norg lets out a loud Klingon, a toothy, loud Klingon laugh.
I am going to walk out of the room, go into the hallway, and download all of the information onto a data pad. And part of the blackout protocol is it scrubs the memory banks of that area. So the only information is on that data pad now.
Okay.
And I'm going to and in Johan. And I'm going to raise the hope.
You can't. We're jammed.
And it's at that moment we transition back to space, and the Hope is flanked by 2 Akamarian destroyers. But I think I'm going to give this to the Hope. What would you guys like to do?
I just want to be clear here. We are within close range, correct?
You are within close range.
All right, let's do this thing because I had about 10 minutes to figure out what we want to do here. So we have 2 warp cores, correct?
You do have 2 warp cores.
do.
The decision that we made was that they actually power 2 groups of nacelles. So if you drop 1 warp core, you are actually at a reduced warp speed. Like they actually matter.
You know
They're
what?
not redundant.
Warping, I could care less about right now. What I need to know is, can I eject both warp cores?
Holy shit!
In order to turn them into weapons, I kind of see where you're going here.
I mean,
Yup.
can we call it the Hope maneuver by now?
Nice.
Well, here's the difference: is if it's standard warp core things, we deal 8 challenge die damage to everything within close range, with piercing 2 automatically onto it, which is very significant. Which means if I roll even 4 effects, that's all their resistance, and that's gonna instantly cripple them. The catch is it also affects the hope. If I eject 1, we don't lose power completely, but we also take that same damage. So it's basically a Hail Mary. I'm banking on the fact that we hit them enough to get enough breaches on them that it cripples them and gives us time to repair. And at the same token, we use that time to repair and then fire some more, if that makes any sense.
The only
Sounds
wrinkle
like a
I'm going to
Hail
throw at you, ELH, is in order for this to work, you're going to have to lower your shields.
Well, I think that's a given. But the good news is, even if it explodes, it does not have high yield on it. So, all it can do is cause 1 singular breach to us. But 1 singular breach is enough to remove both Akamarian's turns, or at least one of them anyway.
Since you guys don't have any auxiliary or anything that gives you extra power, if you drop both of your warp cores, what do you think would be the fair thing here for your power situation?
Oh, I'm not going to drop 2. I'm only going to drop 1 right now.
Oh, just 1. Okay.
Oh, so we're basically just doing it 1 at a time, basically.
Yes. My hope is that this first volley is a surprise enough attack that it blows up and cripples them, and then by the time we come around again, we can either torpedo them to death, or worst case, I'll ramming speed into them.
And because they're at close range, it would hit both of them from the 1 warp core. I see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Yalix can help. He's got warp core mechanics as a
Fitting focus.
Then you get a chime on your communicator, and Commander Savant says, Rayelix, I need one of the cores. Pick your worst one. Fire it at the Akamarians.
Okay. And
to bring us back, you do have a warp core that has a chicken nest in it.
Well, I think that's the one that's getting ejected.
Is the chicken in the nest?
I'm gonna leave that to you guys.
I think Finley's come and picked up Margaret by this point.
No, let's do this the fair way. We'll roll a challenge die. If there's an effect, he has
Margaret's
not
there?
come and picked it up.
Oh no!
He has picked it up.
Okay, I can live with that.
If you roll a 2, he's come and picked her up twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Ra is doing this. This is interesting.
Which I think is daring engineering difficulty of 2.
It can't be anything but daring engineering, I don't think. I was just looking at Rayelix's. Yeah, Rayelix, I would challenge your value. Just keep the ship together here and give you determination. Because you're literally not doing that. You're tearing your ship apart.
Yeah, I mean...
Also, this is your baby. Let's talk about it. The Hope is the ship that you took care of in dry dock. You helped push her through so she was constructed. It could destroy the ship. Not likely, but you would definitely wreck it.
He's kind of like, this is a very quick thinking process. He's like, okay, build the ship basically from the ground up. Losing a warp core sucks, but there's also the possibility that my family dies. Yeah, I don't think Ra's taking chances. He's going to eject the warp core.
I think from this perspective, since you're also using the warp core as sort of a weapon, yeah, it has to be Royelix doing the roll too. Yeah, engineering daring. I think we said difficulty 2.
At least that's what it says for ejecting it in the core rules.
Why don't we make it difficulty 3? Because you're not only ejecting it, you're actually trying to control the explosion to do something. Because you're blowing it up. You're not just ejecting it. Difficulty 3. Which, you know what, kind of matches the base difficulty of a photon torpedo anyway, so that feels fair.
Yeah. Okay. Man, this really sucks for a time to... I don't think I have a single value that works for a determination here.
I mean, you have a focus in jury rigging that fits.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you can get the determination if you challenge the keep the ship together value.
Yeah, but that probably means for me not ejecting the warp core, and we can't afford that.
All of your values are to keep the ship working against what you're doing here.
Yeah, I kind of have to. Okay, so daring engineering. Have a focus. Would Logan still be in engineering ELH?
Potentially, yes.
Could I have him assist me, please?
Sure.
Does he have a focus that would apply here?
He has power systems and jury rigging and warp core mechanics, so
Let's
yes.
go. Okay.
Since he's a supporting character, I'm going to make that complication range apply for the low morale, though, for Loggins. His assist will have the complication range of 3.
Sure. I will take our last momentum for a third die.
Does the ship assist in this?
I think the ship assist is probably
know.
covered by...
We're good. Well, we're good.
Loggins.
We got the...
Yeah, even if it was daring, it would be higher. So yeah, I still got the success.
you have a momentum there.
So yay.
Yeah,
get
Roy
right
Yelix,
back.
so roll some challenge dice for me. I think it's 8 challenge dice, and you're also... Oh, your shields are down. I need to do that also. So you're getting at least 1 breach.
Yep.
Oh,
So I just want to outline what happens here. Sure, we take 2 breaches, but they also take 2 breaches, and I'm pretty sure their shields just went kaput. So that actually might be 3 breaches on them.
So piercing, let's see, piercing 2. So that is definitely enough because you have, I see, 5 effects.
5.
So 10. Yeah, that
So 10
totally goes to the resistance. 9 damage. Yeah, that goes. Their shields are actually still up, but that is 2 breaches.
Now the question is, what 2 breaches do we get?
Since I launched the core, I think it's only appropriate that I roll the breaches.
I'm cool with that.
So first one, of course.
never fails.
And second one,
Um,
I mean, the second one seems appropriate.
both seem appropriate. We kind of sent out a huge thing out of the ship.
True.
Mhm.
Oh, we have to roll a challenge die to see if one of us gets lethally injured. I shall do the same.
Before we do that,
Oh, sorry. Okay.
oh, that's
Well,
fine.
we'll
That's
just-
fine.
Okay.
I was gonna say, what is the fair thing I should do with your power score? You guys think, since you just dropped half of your power basically through the ejecting your
Half
power
it,
core.
so
Should
we're
half
at
it?
4 after taking the breach.
I think that's fair. And your shields are down still because you didn't raise them after this, which I don't think you could have, unless you have
Yeah, we
quick to
can't
action.
until our next turn.
Yeah, unless you guys keep the
Jack has
initiative.
quick to action.
But he's not on the ship.
Yeah, with no way to keep the initiative. Or I guess you guys, yeah, you can, right? You can spend 2 momentum to keep the initiative.
Well, we could.
I
We could
want
spend our
Monday
momentum.
to go. And
like,
I'm gonna.
We could spend a momentum and give him a threat to
Hold
keep
on.
the initiative.
Shizno, what are you doing?
Monday's on the bridge. He can do something, and that'll be an activation. I can give him a talent. Quick to action.
I mean,
I don't know. That feels a little cheesy.
That's a little.
That
Yeah.
feels a little metagamey.
he is on the bridge, though.
He
I
is
would-
on the bridge.
I would let you do that if he were doing the first task. You guys have already basically done a task by ejecting the
Yeah.
core. So
Fair enough.
I think he missed the chance to go and have quick action.
We could do that and just let do the momentum and threat spend and let Sophanth just open fire.
I mean, yeah, I'd be willing to do it.
Yeah, definitely recommend giving me a threat to raise your shields at least, because they're at optimal range for disruptors.
So it will be what, 1 momentum and 2 threat, so we can both keep the initiative, raise our shields, and then blow them up, hopefully.
And when we do an attack run, don't we move? We can move, right? We can move one.
Attack run only makes it easier for us to hit them. It doesn't actually fire weapons.
Not attack run. What is it? Well,
strafing run.
Well, when we fire weapons, don't we move? Can't we move?
No, you're thinking of fleet combat.
Yeah, you're thinking fleet combat.
But no, I mean, even though we are at a difficulty 3 to fire phaser arrays, they're at close range. We get area for free, so I can hit both of them.
That's also true.
Push the button.
Could have Thomas on the bridge firing stuff. He is tactical.
No, you know who I want on the bridge pushing the button? Our good Orion friend.
Danik?
Oh yeah, I thought we were going to take him down, but we never did.
Yeah, you never did. So
we have a Danik.
Well, Danik is working on his cross stitch.
Well, Mr. Danik, you're going to have to cross stitch at a later time.
You're going to cross stitch these into non-existence.
Yeah, there you go.
This is where we find out that Danik is a super incompetent security officer.
I mean,
Danik seems like a decent option, though.
Let me give you guys access to Danik, because I just realized that you don't.
Nope.
Oh, this makes me...
Before he has like a 7 and a
He has
3.
no stats. Yeah, I did not stat him. So someone can stat him as a supporting character really quickly if you'd like.
I got this. Hold on. Well, this is going to be really easy. Somebody look up what Orion's get. He's going to have that and that. That's all we care about. That's all we care about.
Are Orions on? Orions aren't on the Star Trek Adventure sheet.
My random generator does have Orions, I think. Yeah.
I have that somewhere saved on my thing.
I mean, we've used it. We've had him so many times. Do we think we would have at least one value?
Give me a good value, and if it's amusing, I'll let you have it.
Nothing interrupts my cross-stitching.
Well, that's contrary to what you wanted to do here, though.
True. Presence. Daring, fitness, and presence is what the Orions get.
Thank you. All right, focuses, shipboard, tactical systems, phasers, and two-hand combat. All right, well, one of his talents is going to be full spread, maximum yield.
Yeah.
Sure.
That work for...
Oh, wait, no, that doesn't work for phasers, does
it? Only for torpedo salvos, I think.
All right, so I got to give him a different one. How many do I get to give him?
Just do one.
Just
precise
one.
Targeting one?
Then, that's what I'm going to give him. I'm giving him fire at will.
Ooh.
All right. And then for the funny value...
But it says for fire at will, he has to use the swift task momentum spend.
Correct. Which will be another... we'll have to give him another 2 momentum to do it, but I believe in him.
Fair
What's the amusing value?
The amusing value will be something along the lines of...
Cross-stitch.
No. The cross-stitching isn't involved in any way. It's... And now I have to phrase this in a way that won't get me smacked by GM Josh.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck on this one. Something along the lines of... I make a mean cross-stitch, but I also have a mean right hook. Maybe?
I'll take it. That's good. That's good.
He's a Canadian Orion.
A Canadian Orion.
I want the 3 A's in there now.
God.
from pity, I will give it to you guys. From pity. That's where this is coming from.
I'll take it. I'll take pity.
In all serious question, do you spell A-E-H or A-Y-E?
It's definitely E-H.
That's kind of what I figured, but I've heard people argue the other way.
Well, they're heretics.
I don't disagree.
Are they Canadian?
Well, no, they're heretics. All right, so now that we have his sheet ready, so they're at close range. That's difficulty 3. It's control security. He has a focus. Have 1 momentum, so he's rolling 3 dice. If someone can get the ship's weapons and security,
Full spread, so
and
do I get
not
3
roll.
threat?
No.
No.
No, it's phaser.
Oh, phasers. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, just phasers.
I have the ship up.
Yeah, ship should be weapons security.
Yeah, and remember the increased complication range for the ship.
Well, Danik,
Oh,
you have
good.
failed me tremendously, but you do have a value, so we're
Whoa.
probably going to re-roll that.
Hey.
All right, so we got the 3 successes. I will re-roll those 2 zeros using his
The ship
value.
rolled a nat 1.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
So we have 2 momentum on the
momentum.
board. I'm hitting them with the phaser Rays of the Hope, and because they have not only versatile 2, but also free area spread, the area effect will come into play that it will hit both of them. And let's see
Versatile for
what.
piercing.
Don't you have to roll for area if there's another effect? That's what triggers it on the damage?
I do have to roll at least 1 effect, yes.
Yeah.
But other than that, how much am I rolling challenge dice wise? Scale plus security 7. All right. Well, let's
Yep.
roll, see what I get, and then we'll spend challenge dice as appropriately. Okay. Well, we're spending 1 momentum to reroll those 4.
Which isn't one of the versatile, so it's one of ours, right?
It can be one of the versatile. So that is a total of 7 damage with enough effects to trigger area.
And they do have 5 resistance.
So let's spend 1 of the remaining versatile on getting rid of 2 resistance, then another momentum to get rid of another resistance, or another 2 resistance. So they only have a resistance of 1. And
Is that
I'm
for
willing
both
to
ships
bet
with area or just the first one?
both of them because that is an area attack, and they are within close range of each other.
Yeah.
So unless they have like 20-something shields, their shield should be down. That's 3 breaches by my count.
6 damage 6 damage because they have 1 resistance.
Right. So yeah, unless they have 20 shields, I think we just blew them up.
2 more breaches for each one. Yeah.
And this is why you don't let ELH do Starship Combat as a player, because he breaks it.
That puts them at 4 breaches, though. They're not actually destroyed.
Shouldn't it be 3, though? Because shields went down, so that's 1 breach. The initial hit was over 5, so that's 2 breaches. Oh, no, you're right. You're right. I kept thinking they had high yield. You're right.
Yeah, just phasers. They are definitely damaged, and they lost a turn from the warp core drop, but they are not destroyed. They're 1 breach away each from being disabled, and 2 breaches from being destroyed. But they do both.
Savant is going to clap Danik on the shoulder and say, Mr. Danik, fire at will. And I'm going to give you a momentum and a threat, and he's going to fire again. Where did I just put his sheet?
And thanks to fire at will, he doesn't have the increased difficulty.
Nope, but I'm still going to give GM Josh 1 threat because I'm blowing them to high hell. Look at that. Good job.
Let's
Good job, Danik.
go.
Very good job, Danik. And as long as I roll,
Wow.
a few damage here? I mean,
You do have to get through the resistance. That's the only thing.
So versatile 2 for resistance.
Yeah, versatile 2 to get rid of it. That's 4 damage with their shields down. Bye-bye, Akamarians.
Were you doing photons or phasers?
No, just phasers. With area again. So bye-bye, Akamarians.
That's 1 breach there, right? I see 2 breaches because of 2 breaches. Yeah, because of the shield to be down. Yep. Okay. If you want, do you want to destroy them or just disable them? Destroy them.
Oh yeah. No, they're gone. They're gone.
Since that was a remarkable shot, why don't you talk us through what that looks like?
All right, so Danik, as he dances his fingers across the console, rolls the ship in almost a barrel roll like fashion. And the lateral arrays and the dorsal arrays sort of fire at once so that one of the beams impacts the left ship, the other beam impacts the right. And as those two ships begin to list and otherwise have compounding explosions across their hull, Danik spins the ship back up to normal position and then, almost like a fan maneuver, slices through from left to right across both of the ships, bifurcates them, and they explode in a brilliant display of Star Trek fireworks.
I just enjoy the word bifurcate and all of that.
I'll give you a momentum for using bifurcate.
Any escape pods?
With that shot, I don't think so.
And I actually turn to Danik. I say, "Well done, Mr. Danik. Well done. Well done. We should have you up here more often."
Thank you, sir. Sorry it took me so long. I was working on a kitten, and I almost had its ear finished, so I really wanted to finish that corner.
Well, make sure you give it a promotion because I'm putting you in for a commendation.
Thank you, sir. Not necessary, of course.
Danik, you are way too hard on yourself. Why don't you stay on the bridge for the next couple hours in case we have any Klingons shooting at us? But after this, I expect to see you in 10 forward for a rousing party for what you just accomplished.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I hope you won't let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, about my my hobby.
Well, I'm not going to say anything. Are you going to say anything, Monday?
Monday just looks at Danik and just licks his lips every time he says cat or kitten.
And what about you over there, Zyvor? Well, I don't think I even quite understand what it is he's doing, so no? That's good enough for me.
And around this time, Sofan, you get a little chirp on your communicator. Commander Sofan, this is Lieutenant Commander Ra Yalix.
Yeah, Yalix, talk to me. What's going on?
Those ships are gone, right?
Oh yeah, they're atoms now.
Okay, so the lost work is worth it. And you can tell he has like a very pained tone to his voice. Built this thing from the ground up. Cool.
Look on the bright side. You get to build a new warp core. I hear that's what eggheads like you love doing.
Sure, we'll go with that. If you don't mind, Commander, I'm going to take a brief break to communicate with both Starbase 23 and the USS Astral to make sure my family's okay.
Go for it.
And as soon as the communication cuts off, he's sending out communications to both areas to check on his wife and son.
And Ra Yalix, you would discover that the jamming field is actually dropped with the destruction of the Sovereign ship. Apparently some things might have changed in the Akamarian political landscape, and the jamming field is off, which also would allow the away team to communicate with the Hope.
Cool.
Yeah, Johan's been trying this whole time.
Jamming field's down, Commander, and communication to both Starbase 23 and the Astral to check on both of his family members.
All right, but before that, what is Johan saying to Savant? Like, hey, yeah, I've got a cure, or hey, we need more time, or
Dr. Waltz to the Hope.
Yeah, this is the Hope. This is Commander Savant speaking. How may I assist you?
Oh, good. You're still there. Well, good news. We have a cure.
All right, what's the bad news?
We have a cure.
That good, huh? Well, should this be the type of cure I broadcast on an open channel, or...
Oh, yes. Give me 1 second. He's going to quickly send the transponder frequency to be broadcast to all the Klingon ships.
All right, we have received the frequency. To make sure I understand, Doctor, you want me to transmit the cure on this frequency?
Yes, the ambassador of the Klingon delegation that was on Akamar said this would reach them all.
Very well. Should I say anything mentioning him or...
You can if you wish. He's part of the House Jimpock. But this is a cure more for their children than them.
Understood. I will flavor it as such.
Even though it
Very
makes
good.
no sense with travel times or distance or anything, but just because it's dramatically appropriate. Materializing off of the bow of the Hope are 3 Klingon vessels. One is a Negvar, a Cavort, and a Burrell class. Right on cue.
Well, now that we've got the cure, Zyvor, open a channel on this following frequency. And then after Zyvor has done so, I begin transmitting the cure. And as it's being transmitted, I simply add, as promised, here is the cure. That should make it so the Klingon race can continue. Now, of course, I do this out of good faith that you will act with honor, and that in the interest of letting your children and our children continue to coexist peacefully, you will not renege on our agreement to, shall we say, continue this war. However, if you do wish to continue this war, let's just say I've already blown up 2 Akamarian ships. I can certainly blow up more. The choice is yours.
Question.
And then, yes.
Question, this is critically important to your message.
Yes.
Are you actually sending them the cure to the augment virus or a song from the cure? Because you just said the cure.
Both.
And moments later, appearing on screen is a Klingon female. She looks to be younger, probably in her early 30s. She is also surrounded by Klingons on their bridge. They don't appear to be any distress. There's some beads of sweat running down her face, which betray that she's probably suffering some of the side effects of the augment virus herself. And she announces herself. I am Lenar of House Jimpock. We are analyzing your cure. And who are you?
I am Commander Sophanth of the United Federation starship, the USS Hope.
We analyzed your attack over our long-range scanners. I must say, your destruction of those 2 Akamarian vessels was most impressive.
Well, there's a reason I have accolades to that effect, Captain.
Part of me is looking forward to finding deception here in your statement about having the cure so that we may meet each other in combat. And she smiles with her sharp teeth exposed.
Well, I tell you what, even if the cure does happen and after you've treated yourself, maybe you can come over to the Hope and we'll have a friendly sparring match.
And she looks to the side and one of her officers looks back to her and just shakes his head. And she sort of takes a step back because she was probably not expecting you to be truthful in what you said. And she says, apparently I may have misjudged your capabilities. For you to offer this cure to us with no strings attached is equal parts brave and foolish.
Well, better to be an honorable fool than a fool without honor.
She nods. Spoken like a Klingon.
Is the communication between Johan and the ship still open? So is he hearing this?
I think you would hear this, yes. But I don't think you would be able to like chip in and be like, oh yeah, and we also did XYZ kind of a thing.
No, he's going to send a message to Lenar of the ship.
Sure. What would you say?
He's going to do a conference call, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Lenar of House Jimpock. I have Norg here of House Jimpock as well. He's received a cure, and he's up and about. He's thirsty for some blood wine. And it is good to see you again, even though it's been so many years.
She says, would you happen to be Johann Waltz?
Yes. I think I treated you for 3 fractures in your left arm And a young boy that you managed to break his jaw down the middle.
Indeed, that Ptah still finds his way, has still found his way into the Klingon Defense Force. Unfortunately, he has not been killed yet. But if the ambassador is alive, as you say, we will deal with his dishonor later. I expected that he died in combat. That is unfortunate that he still lives. But if he has been assistance in bringing this cure to the Empire, then perhaps he is redeemable.
He was a brave warrior to withstand the pain.
And she presses a button on one of the consoles close to her, and she crosses her arms over her chest. I have just given the order to cease all hostilities. I will bring this cure to my father, the Chancellor. It is something that we should discuss.
Well, I'm no diplomat, but with the captain's permission, I would like to go aboard the Klingon vessel.
As long as you come back.
Konos is my home.
And she chimes in. I have a counter proposal. Your captain has made a friendly wager. I'd like to see them up on that.
Guess I'll be treating the broken arm or two.
I think you mean hoof.
She means
Why's it gotta be me? Maybe I'll win the fight. You don't know.
could be a broken hoof. Who knows? But when she's talking about the captain, she's talking about you, Sophanth.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just sort of smiling and nodding and like, yeah, I'm okay with that.
And we cut to some time later. I'm putting everyone here in the lounge. So one of those very classic Star Trek moments where we just have everyone, all hostilities are forgotten, everyone's just hanging out. Apparently, Danik and Norg hit it off right away, and they get into a bit of a drinking contest.
Oh, I'm over there too. I will say Sofang sees Johan inject himself again with another hypo before he takes a big old gulp down of blood wine.
I feel like that's cheating, but it's not my place to point that out.
Oh yeah, Josh, how's Radialix's family?
I think we're actually gonna hold off on that, and we're gonna handle that.
Son of a gun.
We're gonna handle that next season. I will say, Radialix, you sent out that communication to hear from them, and you did not get a response. But Starbase 23 was heavily damaged, and most of the ships were destroyed. So I'm gonna make you sweat on that one for a while.
I'm real mad at you right now. So it's like we have to wait because we're doing an Expanse campaign. Great.
Everyone has either a helping of, whatever drink they would like, or Klingon blood wine. Apparently Lennar brings over quite a bit herself when she comes onto the Hope. But she walks up to you, Sophanth, and she says, perhaps we misjudged Starfleet. Our original thought was that Starfleet would either deny helping us with the cure, or if they found it, use it to leverage territory from the Empire. That you gave it to us so freely was not anything that we anticipated.
Well, I mean, no disrespect, but clearly you don't know the Federation as well as you might think. This is quite literally our creed. That we aid without expectance of reciprocation. Had you come to us initially, perhaps some of this bloodshed could have been avoided.
Yes, indeed. I was quite surprised in my father's first approach to attack the Federation. It is possible that myself and some of his other counselors were a little too quick to war.
Well, as long as the hostilities cease, I see no need to commiserate our past failings. What's done is done. What matters now is how we proceed from this moment forward. And I actually do because I forget the name of it. I've tried to look it up, but you know that one thing where Data is the Klingon ambassador, whatever, comes over to Data and is like, "Yeah, I want to do this thing with you," and he puts the two arms up, and then Data does the two arms on the interior. I don't remember what that's called, but I'm desperately trying to look it up.
A Klingon high five.
Klingon high five.
Like, I can find the scene in a moment, but let me see if I can find it, because that's basically how I want to do the contest, is whatever the hell that was.
Butt cool challenge.
The butt cool challenge. All right, that's what we're doing.
Oh gosh. Okay. Why don't you just roll a d20 for me? 10 or above favors Sophanth, and 9 or below favors Lennar, because I have no stats for her and I don't want to make any. So 50-50
I got
chance.
this for you. I got this for you, Jim Josh. As Lennar puts her hands in the appropriate position and Sophanth has someone count down 3, 2, 1, the camera zooms up out of the room and we don't see who wins, but a cheer goes up across the entire interior of the 10 forward. And then we just sort of see the Hope and the Klingon ships orbiting Akamar 5.